But right back home, you had a Godrej Consumer Products. In fact, yesterday that stock shut at close to the day's low as most of the brokerages gave a thumbs down to the news that the company is buying a 30% stake in the hair salon B Blunt. Let's talk about what exactly this news means. We've got Mr. Adi Godrej. He's the chairman of the Godrej Group now joining in on the show. Thanks very much for being with us, Mr. Godrej. Let's just talk about how you would respond to this move of buying a stake, a 30% stake, and if you could disclose the sum at which this is being bought at.
No, the valuation at which we are buying this stake is confidential, but I can tell you it's a very small amount. So this kind of a reaction is totally uncalled for.
But given that there is almost a 2,000 crore rupee debt, if I'm not mistaken, on the books, won't this only add pressure to the balance sheet?
As I told you, our debt to market cap ratio is less than 0.1. It's less than 10% of our market cap, our debt. And this amount is insignificant.
Mr. Godrej, good afternoon. I think what my colleagues' questions were stemming from were from a couple of reports that came out yesterday, and I'm glad you're clarifying this. Just one final question on this. Is this more in terms of having a synergy for selling some of the Godrej manufactured products from the B Blunt outlets? Would that be the synergy, or is this a completely different strategy?
No, that is not. No, that is not at all the reason for our investment. Our reason for investment is the way hair salons operate. Their strategies, etc., is very important to our business, especially our hair color business, and therefore this investment, which gives us 2 board seats, will be very valuable in terms of learning for Godrej Consumer Products, and it's a very small amount we are investing.
Fair call. Let's talk about the business at hand, Mr. Godrej, and let's just split it up. Let's just first concentrate on the domestic markets. How are things looking like? Because your peers, both large and small, have given conflicting views about how the last 3 months odd have been for the domestic market. How has GCPL functioned in the last quarter?
Well, I can't talk about the previous quarter because our results have not yet been declared. As you know, we have to first declare it to the stock market. But I can say the GCPL continues to do well. We had strong growth in the first quarter, and we expect strong growth in the rest of the year. And with the excellent monsoon and the good agricultural season and its multiplier effects not only on agricultural growth but also on industrial and services growth, we expect strong performance during the rest of the year.
Mr. Godrej, there's also plans to expand manufacturing in Tanzania and Uganda. Could you talk more about what the growth trajectory is likely from there?
Well, we have made an acquisition in a company called Darling, which has manufacturing in 14 countries across Africa. We have already, it's to be taken over stage by stage. We've already taken over in Mozambique, South Africa, Kenya and Nigeria, and the next phase will be Uganda and Tanzania, and then we will take over their manufacturing operations in other countries also. So that will certainly add to inorganic growth for us, but our organic growth in Africa also is quite strong.
And what about the acquisition pipeline? What exactly can we anticipate in the near term?
Well, we keep looking for strategic acquisitions that fit into our 3x3 strategy, which is in the developing world, in the 3 continents on the developing world, and in 3 areas which we are strong, which is hair color, household insecticides, and personal wash. And if there are some good opportunities, we will certainly look at them. Obviously, again, until we finalize anything and we announce it to the stock market, we can't talk to media.
Fair enough, Mr. Godrej. If we talk more about your African operations and the kind of revenue that you garnered, it was close to 214 crores for the quarter ended June 30th. Not trying to elicit numbers from you, but do you think that we can better this going forward?
Yes, we think across the board our sales performance will improve quarter on quarter and of course year on year too.
How do you look at the global operations from a 12-month perspective, Mr. Godrej? Again, I'm not eliciting numbers at all. I know you're in a silent period. But, you know, there are a lot of question marks about different geographies on the global front. Some may be growing, some may be not. You have a large export market as well within your acquisitions that you've done. How do you see the next 12 months for you?
Good, strong. All the countries we are operating in are showing good growth. Even in the UK, which is our only business in the developed world, we are growing very strongly, both organically and because of acquisitions we've made there. But in the developing world, all the countries we are in, whether in Latin America, Africa or Indonesia, or even Bangladesh and Sri Lanka, growth in the economy is quite good. In some cases, there is a slight slowdown. The only country where there is any significant slowdown in growth has been South Africa.
And that was going
but
to be...
But they're all growing.
Okay, which is a good thing to know. The other bit, Mr. Godrej, would be that I hear that you're looking to expand manufacturing in a couple of African countries, Tanzania and Uganda to be precise. With those expansion plans or acquisition plans that you may have, would there be in the next 6 months any kind of significant capital outlay that Godrej Consumer may have to undertake?
Yeah, there would be some capital outlay over the next 6 months, but well within manageable proportions. As I mentioned, our debt to market cap ratio is less than 0.1. It's something like 0.07. So it's a very low ratio. Our debt is relatively small for the size of the company, and in fact, the fact that we have that debt makes our overall cost of capital very efficient. And there will be some more investment, but a lot of it will also come from internal resources.
Okay, Mr. Godrej, thanks very much for taking time out and joining in, giving us that clarification also on the stake buy for the company. Well, we have the stock which is holding up currently by just about 1%, and as pointed out, you do have the markets which are lingering at those levels of 59, 56 thereabouts. The Bank Nifty future should just pull that up for